Hey everyone, before we get into this week's episode, I just want to send out my thoughts and condolences to everybody being impacted by what's going on in Hawaii right now. I've had a few listeners reach out to me and just say they have been impacted. They know people that have been impacted, pardon me. And I couldn't read all the comments. I didn't want to miss anybody's. I just want to say that I've seen them, and I'm so sorry to see what's happening there. And I know there's nothing I can do to help, but hopefully this silly podcast will help keep your mind off everything for the next hour and a half or so. So I'm officially dedicating this episode to all of you impacted and the people of Hawaii, and we're pulling for you. And I'm very sorry to see what's going on down there. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 261, and we're talking softball from Maine to San Diego. My all-time favorite Simpsons episode. No, we're talking baseball. More specifically, we're talking Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball for the SNES. And I am floored that I think this is the first baseball game that we've covered on the show, isn't it? I think it is. 261 episodes. And that's wild because I'm a big baseball fan these days. I wasn't so much growing up, but it's really become probably my favorite sport in my middle old age. But even though I didn't like baseball as a kid, I played the fuck out of this game. I'll get into how I got into baseball games on the show this week, but this was really the one that we used to rent all the time when I was little, primarily just to play home run derbies, but I've been revisiting it to get ready for this episode, and I'm shocked at how well it holds up. There were some great sports games from this era, like NHL 94, the Mutant League games, NBA Jam, and I think Ken Griffey Jr. stacks up against all of them. I feel like it's weird with retro sports games, you know? I feel like there's very few mid retro sports games. They were either garbage or they were just timeless. And I think what makes the timeless games less of time is that they were just so simple to pick up and play. You know, they were brilliant in their simplicity. There were some great sports games today. Like, you're talking MLB The Show. Some people like NHL, the NBA 2K, FIFA. I'm sure somebody likes Madden out there, but like you almost need a physics degree to play some of these games. They're so complicated. Stuff like Ken Griffey Jr.'s MLB, NBA Jam, Tecmo Bowl, NHL 94. You know how to play them halfway through your first game, and I think that's the secret sauce to great retro sports games. So I'm looking forward to this one, as is my pal Brad, who makes his triumphant return to the show this week. We had so much fun talking about what made this game so great, kind of reminiscing about sports games as a whole from back then. There's a little bit of baseball talk, mostly just about a couple of rules. And I know some people think baseball is boring. I disagree, by the way. But this game isn't boring, and I hope this episode isn't boring either. And we'll get to all that in just a minute, because speaking of kind of boring, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. Dun, 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 dun! And if you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard, and consider this your warning. Our intros are kind of long, but they're fun, and you don't have to be drunk to enjoy them. But seriously, if you do want to skip the intro, you just here for Ken Griffey Jr. baseball talk, go about 30 minutes up the road and you'll be there, okay? But give the intro a chance. We talk video games and stuff. It's lots of fun. I have to get my plugs out of the way. It's how we keep the bills on. Give me 5 minutes, tops. And not even 5. Is it 5 minutes? But less if I fucking stop. Anyways, we're running a summer sale until the end of August. You can save 20% on all Remember the Game merchandise at rememberthegamepodcast.com. We have hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs, posters, all kinds of stuff, rocking incredible art drawn by my man Joe from 4545 Creative. There's a couple of new designs over there, a 5th anniversary shirt featuring myself and our beloved CEO, my dog Molly, and we also have a Saturnian World Order shirt for you weird Sega Saturn kids. So you can find all that, like I said, rememberthegamepodcast.com, 20% off till the end of August. And of course, if you don't like clothes, you can always just support us on Patreon. It's about the best deal in the history of the universe. Our subscriptions start at $3 a month, and we offer up to 4 extra podcasts every week. Every Monday, it's Purple Monkey Dishwasher, our Simpsons show, hosted by me and Mark McHugh. We just finished season 1. We're moving into season 2 in a week. I can't fucking wait. Every Tuesday, I drop The Rambling Idiot, where I talk comedy, TV, movies, sports, whatever's on my mind. There's movie reviews and stuff in there as well. Every Friday, it's Game Patch, my modern gaming news show, where I talk about the biggest stories in gaming, new releases, sales picks, etc. And Expansion Pass goes live every Thursday, and that's a different gaming show each week. We look at characters, consoles, genres, hypotheticals. There's lots of modern game reviews, tons of rankings, some comedy episodes. This past week, it was Expansion Pass 173, and I tackled a massive topic that people have been asking for a while now, and that was I sat down and I ranked all 86 original Robot Masters from Mega Man 1 through 11. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but fuck me, was it fun. Like, I love that series, and a big part for the reason is because of all the Robot Masters. It was like ranking 80 children that I love and 6 that were just horrible mistakes. And as is becoming tradition, here is a sneak peek of last week's episode of Expansion Pass, ranking all 86 Robot Masters. But number 81, Astro Man. The only good thing about Astro Man is Astro Crush. Astro Man's ability, you like rain asteroids down on the full screen. And it's pretty awesome, but it's not worth dealing with that shitty boss fight. Number 81. Number 80. This is the first one somebody wrote in about, and 2 of you wrote in about it, and I feel like this is my first hot take. Number 80 on my list is Bubble Man from Mega Man 2. And I was shocked that he had defenders. Billy Yo Blues Link wrote in and said, if I had to say my favorite enemy robot master of all time, it'd be Bubble Man from Mega Man 2. His stage is iconic. His music is amazing. Of course, his weapon sucks and he's easy as fuck, but that's why I like him so much. It's so fun to kill him, and he's so pathetic and funny looking, he's lovable. Plus, in Mega Man fandom, he has an interesting backstory of having this hidden motive to prove himself to his robot brothers, and the band The Megas have a really good song about him. That is more Bubble Man lore than I possibly ever thought I would hear in my life. That's now available in our archives, and this week it's Expansion Pass 174, and we're revisiting something we did a couple years ago. Every week here on Remember the Game, we play 1, Remake 1, Erase 1, and everyone yells at me for making them choose between their favorite games. So this week it's your Play 1, Remake 1, Erase 1s. Volume 2. Patreons will submit their entries and make me suffer for a change as I work through a whole bunch of them. Should be a really good time. So again, subscriptions start at $3 a month to get new podcasts every week, instant access to hundreds of ad-free archive bonus podcasts. And I want to say, I'll throw this out there right now, they have finally added Patreon support to Spotify. So you can now add all your Patreon podcasts to your Spotify feed. You can actually find our Patreon feed on Spotify. Search for Remember the Game Industries. You'll see the Angry Adam logo. And even if you're not a Patreon, you can scroll through the entire library and see what episodes are in there now. It's fucking awesome. And not only do you get all those old episodes, you get a bunch of new ones. You get access to the Remember the Game Discord. You get the chance to vote in our Patreon poll every month. You can submit comments for all of our shows. And you even get a shout out and get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm about to do to most of these people. A huge thank you to all of our newest Patriots. Joey Prevost, I hope I said that right. Jose Duran, Jared J. Beach, Scott B, 2 Beagles, 1 Treat. I love that. T Stank 101, the best Jeff you know. I know some great Jeffs. That's a high bar. Z, I'm Canadian, I should say Zed. Alberto Casavantes, Teleman 704, Blank Famous 06, The Rockstar, Bill Milillo, that's a fun name to say if I said it right. Stephen Heck, Drake, The Angry New Yorker, doesn't exist. Peter, doesn't exist. S, Arcad and Prime, Colin Fly, Red Fox, Saxman Trick 13, and Matt B. Thank you all so much for the support, and welcome to Remember the Game Industries. Don't forget, patreon.com/rememberthegame. 5% of our income gets donated to charity at the end of every year. We offer annual subs. It'll save you a month's fees. It's good times. And finally, to wrap up the plugs, you can find me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/rememberthegame whenever I feel like getting on there. I'm working through playing through Batman on the NES right now, so it's making for some fun streams if you want to come by and say hi. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always. And we call it blowing in the cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is the prophet formerly known as Lara Croft's tits, who wrote in and said, I recently learned that the Ocarina of Tim in Germany is called Das Flutenduten. I feel like this needs to be the new official mispronunciation for Remember the Game Industries. First of all, if that's true, that's phenomenal. But I'm Googling that to make sure I didn't just drop like some fucking slur or something. Because with all due respect, your handle is the prophet formerly known as Lara Croft's tits. So I don't think class is necessarily high on your list. Das Flutenduten to English. It says here that translates to the flood Duten. I don't know if that's true. I don't think that's true at all. I don't think the flood Duten is offensive, but I'm sticking with Ocarina of Tim. If you're going to fucking say it right, Prophet. I do like Das Flutenduten though. That sounds great. XStar25 wrote in and said, hey, Adam, you've poked fun at hating golf, in real life that is, but have you ever tried Frisbee golf? I started playing it this summer, and I'm really enjoying it. You know what, XStar25? First of all, yes, I do hate golf in real life. Second of all, I've never played Frisbee golf, but I've always wanted to. No, it's funny you say that, because just a few weeks ago, Shay and I were driving through a park here in Edmonton, and there's like Frisbee golf courses everywhere now, and we saw one, and I was like, that looks like so much fun. I really want to try it, so I might try it. Not this year. I don't think I'll have a chance to get out this year, but next year I might try me some Frisbee golf. Because ever since I saw that George Costanza played it, it looked like a lot of fun. I might try that. The Big Deal wrote in and said, I'm from the U.S., and $60 has always been the price point for new games of any console generation. From listening to you, it sounds like $80 Canadian has been the standard. I'm checking the current exchange rate is pretty much the same, but has it always been that way historically? Has there been a point where you've overpaid or underpaid for games based on the exchange rate? I don't know if I can say whether or not I've overpaid or underpaid for games because of the exchange rate, because truth be told, until I was into my mid-30s, I didn't even know what an exchange rate was. I really didn't know that we had, like, our money was worth less. And some are going to yell at me, I don't pay attention to the U.S. economy. I don't know. So I can't say as I've ever done that for because of the exchange rate. Some new games now have hit $90 Canadian. I think they went up to 70, didn't they, in the US? Some of them, like PS5 and Series X games, Tears of the Kingdom. Like, I know some of them have hit 90 here. So I can't say as to that, but I know there was a time back in like the Super Nintendo 64, PS1, Genesis era where it felt like there was no standard price for games. You remember that? You see the old flyers and it's like sometimes one new game would be like $40, then one new game would be $70, and I don't really know why. But no, now it's pretty standard. Yeah, $80, 90 now for new ones. And no, I can't say as I've ever over or underpaid based on the exchange rate. I have over and underpaid based on the fucking quality. Looking at you, fucking Sonic Frontiers. But no, not due to the exchange rate. Dr. Link wrote in and said, what's up, AB? Just thinking about if the Switch is going to get that all-time best-selling console glory. If I was PlayStation, I'd probably fire out a PS2 Mini for the holiday season, charge $75 for it, and sell 20 million of them just to fuck Nintendo over. The only downside to my plan is that they screw up the console as badly as they did the PS1 version, and I'm not even sure these Minis count toward the final console numbers. I'm 1,000,000,000% sure that mini consoles do not count toward the console sales numbers. So I don't think that would play. But yeah, if you don't know, the Switch is like, what, 25 million, I think, shy of the PS2 right now for the best-selling console of all time. And the question is it going to get there? I think it's going to be close. Some people are saying, I think it's about, when I ran a poll about it on social media, it was about 70-30 in favor of people saying it won't get there. But I think there's a massive price drop coming, especially once Nintendo announces their new system. And I think that might help get it over the hump. It'll depend on how long they can keep it relevant and on the market. So I think it's going to be close. As far as your mini idea, no, I don't. The mini consoles don't count toward the main consoles sale prices. Also, you're right. They fucked up the PS1 Mini so bad. I would love a PlayStation 2 Classic, but I have zero faith that they'll. I have like a 10% faith that we'll get one, and I have a 0% faith that they won't fuck it up as bad as they did the original PlayStation Classic. That thing could have been phenomenal, and it was just truly awful. Decent for hacking, but truly awful other than that. Dragon Trainer Allen wrote in and said, Dear Hoju, I really haven't been able to date and pardon me. Okay, let me start this over. Dear Hoju, I really haven't been able to date and have been focusing on other things before now. I've started trying to date. Can you please give me all your best advice on dating? I really need it. I really want a girlfriend. I know it takes time and effort, but anyone I ask gives me the vague, let it happen, just talk and ask questions, advice. Do you have anything that isn't vague and unhelpful Thank you. Dragon trainer, Alan. I mean, you're a dragon trainer. I would think that would be enough to get you a girlfriend. But I'm being dead serious. Like, that really is good advice. Let it happen. Just talk. Ask questions. I know it's stupid bag advice, but like, I've been with Shaylee for almost 16 years. And before that, I was with a girl for about 3 years. And before that, I was with a girl for about 4 years. And then before that, it was high school. Like, I really haven't dated in a long time. I've never used a dating app. I really don't know how they work. I keep asking Shaylee to show me her Tinder, but she won't. She says that I don't need to be on there. So fair enough. I don't really understand it. I really don't, like, I know this is going to sound stupid, but like, I think the reason I'm not a very good looking guy, I've never had any money. I think the reason I've always been able to get dates is because people like the funny person. So I don't know if you're funny or not. That is literally all. I'm like a 3 out of 10, but then I have some jokes, and that gets me up to a passable grade. But I think there's someone out there for everybody. And I really think the number one thing is just be yourself. Go out, ask them to meet you for coffee or something, and just get to know that. Ask questions. Any of you trying to date, that's the number one thing. Don't talk about yourself. If they ask you questions, answer them, but find out about them. Find out about them. That's the key. And shower. Don't forget to shower. I don't know if you do. I'm assuming you do, but don't forget to shower. Brushing your teeth is good too, but mostly just ask questions. That's the big thing. Good luck, my friend. Good luck. Impressive Beans said, hey, Adam, as a reformed PC Master Racer, I used to love Call of Duty when it first came out in its World War II format on PC. Throwing potato peelers, which are Russian grenades, and using classic weapons from that era was what really made the game for me. I guess where I'm going with this is, do you not really enjoy Call of Duty in its modern format? And maybe you'd like the original better if it got a facelift like Resident Evil 4? I know I'd love a remake of the original personally, but even though I'm reformed, I do still prefer a keyboard and mouse for a shooter. You know what? For those of you that may be new to the show and don't know, I've never played a Call of Duty. I've played one campaign, and I don't remember which one it was. But I've never really played Call of Duty. I'm not very good at shooters. I don't play online very much. And if I'm putting my cards on the table, I don't know if there's anything they could do to get me into Call of Duty. Like, if I am going to play a shooter, I'll play a BioShock or a Halo and play the campaigns. Or if I really want to play an online shooter, I'll go to Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood. I get asked a lot, are you ever going to review a Call of Duty game on the show? And I wouldn't put Call of Duty, excuse me, I wouldn't put Call of Duty in the same band class as a couple of the others, like Kingdom Hearts, that I'll just never touch because I'm too scared of the fan base. But I would put Call of Duty in the more likely than not it's never going to get an episode category, just because I've never played it. And I know people would want some multiplayer conversations, and I don't think I could do it. Like, I don't think I'm the guy to review a Call of Duty. I don't hate them. I just don't have any interest in playing them, and I don't have anything to add. And I think it'd be a shitty podcast. You know what I'm saying? As far as just going to play one, I really just don't have a lot of interest. And I see the Call of Duty fan base, and everybody seems to hate them every year, which doesn't make me want to play them anymore either. I had considered Warzone at one point just because I thought it looked kind of fun, but then everybody was like, it sucks, and I got busy with other stuff, and I never went back. So, I mean, I hope Call of Duty finds its way back for everybody out there that loves it, but I'll tell you for myself personally, I just don't think there's anything they could do to get me into Call of Duty. I just don't think it's my... I think it's avocado. Like, I don't really like avocado, and I think Call of Duty is my avocado. It's just not my flavor. So, but thank you for writing in, obviously, and asking. Impressive Beans. And finally, before we move on, it's letter time. Matthew Boyce. Pardon me, Matthew. Can I call you Matt? I'm sorry. Matthew Boyce said, Adam, here's something rattling around in my head. With the leaps in both technology and virtual reality, do you think there's a way to make a full dive VR system as like in SAO, where VR will put all of your senses into the game? Just a thought that comes and goes when I think of the future of VR. So I had to Google what SAO is, and apparently it's Sword Art Online, and I don't really understand what that is. So I'm going to be honest with you, Matthew. As far as are they ever going to make a full dive like SAO, I can't say because I don't understand what SAO is. It just looks like you're running around with a sword. But as far as are they ever going to make a full dive VR system where they put all your senses into the game or into the system, I do think we're headed that way. I think VR is inevitably someday going to be the future of media, not just gaming, but movies, TV, everything. But I think we're a long ways away from it. I think the technology needs to get there. I think the technology needs to get affordable for everybody. But like, I've read Ready Player One, and it just seems inevitable, doesn't it? That someday we're all living in like some kind of virtual world, and we spend more time there than we do in the real world. You could pretty well do anything you want there. I think we're probably headed there eventually, but I think it's a long time away. And I'm not trying to poo-poo on those of you that love VR, but like, look at the PSVR 2. That thing came out, and some people were stoked. Some people were like, it's too expensive. And now I just saw somebody post online yesterday about how it's collecting dust because they haven't gotten any games for it, and there's nothing they want to do with it. I think it's a very niche thing right now, but I also think it's the next it's the next HD TV. You know what I mean? It's the next color TV. It's the next internet, YouTube, chat room, whatever. I do think it's 2023 as I'm recording this. I bet you by like 2045 or something, we're all just living in VR all the time, or a lot of the time. But I don't think it's there yet. Someday, though. Someday. I've always said, I just want to watch sports in VR. I want to be like, I want to view a baseball game from the view of the home plate umpire. I want to watch wrestling from the view of the referee. That'd be fucking sick. Or ringside, at least. That'd be fucking awesome. Oh, my God. Anyways. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for all your submissions. As always, we need to move on. Let's change things up and get into our Smash Hit segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. It is Play One, Remake One, Erase One. And a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week I give our listeners 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. As always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. This week we're talking baseball on the SNES, so I went with 3 more SNES sports gems. Tecmo Super Bowl, NHL 94, and NBA Jam Tournament Edition. And it was a very close vote all around, but 29% said play NHL 94, remake NBA Jam, and erase Tecmo Super Bowl. That's what snuck it out. Let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. Max Renault wrote in and said, play NBA Jam. It's super fun as it is. Already been remade, and it felt off in a bad way. Remake NHL 94, because as a Canadian, hockey is number 1 next to pro wrestling. That leaves Tecmo Football to get the fuck out of here. Just play any other Tecmo sports game, arcade or not. I hate football. I'm sure it's great, but I am biased against football. Well, Max, that's because you're Canadian and you have to watch the CFL. I'm sorry, because I know that's going to ruffle some CFL fan feathers. I don't enjoy the CFL's product. I like football, though, but fair enough. I have no ill will toward that order. That's fine. There really isn't a wrong answer this week. I really think any order is fine. Victor from Regina said play NHL 94 because as far as I'm concerned, the series peaked then. That's a long time ago to peak. Remake Tecmo Super Bowl, but keep it absolutely unchanged other than roster swaps because as far as I'm concerned, football peaked at Tecmo. And erase NBA Jam because NBA Hang Time would still survive and it is essentially identical. Victor, I love that you're like, you seem like that person. You're like, hockey video games peaked in the mid-90s. NBA football peaked in the mid-90s. Basketball, I don't care. Just jumping around. I love it. I just assumed it's because you're from Regina, Saskatchewan, and you guys haven't gotten a new game there since NHL 94. But what do I know? Slithis the God said, first and foremost, fuck you for making me do this. But since I have to, play Tecmo Super Bowl because it's honestly my favorite of the 3 and such a classic in my house growing up. Remake NBA Jam and just make it the same with a mix of current rosters and add legendary squads in there like Birds, Celtics. Is it Celtics or Celtics? Boston I think Celtics. MJ's, Bulls, Magic's, Lakers, and so on. Erase NHL 94 because it's the rules, and it really comes down to the fact that I don't like it more than Tecmo Super Bowl, and I don't trust current EA to remake it to my standards. That is sound logic, Slithis. You are very intelligent to not trust EA. I respect that. Anthony Messina said, this one's crazy. I'm going to have to play Tecmo Super Bowl. Played it with my dad as a kid, and I can't erase that memory. And I can't erase or remake that memory. I got it. Remake NHL 94. Another game I love playing as a kid. It's still my favorite NHL game. Remake it with updated graphics and a roster. Maybe I'll finally beat my older brother. And erase NBA Jam. It isn't because this game is fun and I had a blast, but there are other basketball games out there like this, such as Showtime, Hang Time, and the NBA Street games. That's fair. I love NBA Street. We are going to do an episode on NBA Street. That's fair. Isleo, I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think Isleo 2023 said, wow, first time playing and this was tough. Play NHL 94 because it's a classic the way it is. Remake NBA Jam, even if I'm not a fan of the NBA, because an updated version of that game with more ridiculous dunks would be hilarious. And erase Tecmo Super Bowl because we can always fall back on the original Tecmo Bowl, which is still a great game and still playable today. That is a great point that I didn't think of. I can't think of if we were to race NHL 94 or NBA Jam, we have an older version that's just as good. But I would hear that argument for Tecmo Super Bowl and Tecmo Bowl. That's sound logic. I'm actually going with the runner-up this week. 20% of you, as did Troy Evers, who said, holy crap, this is my kind of play one, remake one, erase one. Play Tecmo Super Bowl. Still played it competitively. I participate in the national championships annually. Wow. Plus the follow-ups and remakes aren't quite the same. Remake NBA Jam. There was a fantastic remake for the Wii and PS3 around 2012, but it's time for another. Sadly, erase NHL 94 because I'm a bigger basketball fan than hockey fan. Plus there was an NHL 94 mode in a recent NHL game. That is true as well. I know it seems sacrilegious because I'm Canadian, but I'm actually going in the same order. I'm going to play Tecmo Super Bowl because it's the only one of these three I haven't played. I actually like retro football games better than Madden. And I haven't played Tecmo Super Bowl, so I'm going to play it. I'm going to remake NBA Jam because I think it's the only way I'm going to be into a basketball game aside from NBA Street. And I'm going to race NHL 94. And I get that it's a sin because I'm a Canadian, but I actually played NHL 96 and 97 more as a kid than NHL 94. And I can live with playing modern NHL. So I'm sorry, but that's how it's going to work. Thank you, everybody that wrote in and played along. As always, I love this segment. Let's pause for a quick word from our sponsors, and then I'll tell you what I've been playing, and we'll get into Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have two goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix. There's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention, but when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. This is an ad by BetterHelp. A band once said, "Work sucks, I know." And I think most people agree with them. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress from their jobs. And while walking away from your job might not be an option, taking a little time every day to focus on yourself and your mental health can make a huge difference. I know in the summer I try to get outside every day, get a little bit of sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. It really helps. At least until my allergies attack, and then it's ugly. It's important to take steps to combat work stress, and therapy can be a huge one. It's not just for overcoming trauma. Therapy can help you define work goals, set some work boundaries, develop coping skills. It's like a cheat code for life. And if you're thinking, man, I'm too busy for therapy, well, look into BetterHelp. They make therapy as convenient as possible. You can meet with one of their over 30,000 therapists online and on your schedule, just like over 5 million people around the world already have done. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/rememberthegame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. All right, what have I been up to over the last week? It's been a very Final Fantasy week around here. I've been playing Final Fantasy 16 still. I know I'm going slow with that, but I'm really taking my time, and I am doing everything, and I am really fucking enjoying it. I'm also still playing Final Fantasy 6. I'm in the end game now. That's spoiler. That is going to be next week's episode of Remember the Game of All the Stars Align. It's a revisited episode about Final Fantasy 6, and then I've been playing Batman on the NES because I'm determined to beat that fucking game fair and square. And I'm about to start Star Wars Jedi Academy. I think that's Jedi. Yeah, I think that's Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, whatever. That one. I'm about to start that one. I'll be playing that one by next week. And I'm going to be starting Silent Hill right away as well. Fuck yeah. Let's get into Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball. That's why you're here. As always, I like to give you nerds a chance to sound off before my guests and I hog the microphone. So let's hear what a few of you had to say. Spurgeocalypse came in with the drop of the week. This game feels like it's a party in my mouth and everyone's invited. I get that reference. Y'all better get that reference. Shout out to all of you that do. Well done, Spurge. White Burrow said, I never watched baseball, but this was the first game I remember being able to rename my players, which made it more fun for me to add my friends and my pets' names to the team. I also remember my cousin hating baseball, but we would spend hours playing the home run derby when he was over. Great game. Yeah, the home run derby was what sold me on this when I was a kid too. I never named players on my team after my pets. That's awesome. I did name them after my friends, or I would name them after like the Mighty Ducks, the movie rosters and stuff like that. I love that kind of shit. French Froggy said, this was the first game I ever bought with my own money. I still remember going to our mall, Consumers Distributing. That sounds like the lamest ball ever. To pick up a copy, then rush home to start editing the lineup of the Montreal Expos with the actual roster. Yes. I miss the Expos. Fuck. Larry White said, I love baseball games, and this is a classic arcade-style game. I remember my uncle telling me the Kansas City Royals roster is compromised of U.S. presidents. I didn't believe him, so I looked it up, and boom, there were such names as Reagan, Bush, and Clinton. All the rosters have different themes, so I'd never miss not having real players' names. I didn't even know that until Brad told me on the show, and we'll get into that in a couple of minutes. The Philadelphia roster, Phillies roster blew my fucking mind when Brad told me. You'll hear about that in a second. And Bab the Babs wrote in and said, I think it's the best baseball game ever. The perfect mix of simple yet complex enough to play with lineups and other baseball strategies. I love the graphics too. Yes, they were cartoonish, but I've always preferred that to realistic stuff for sports games. I would hear an argument that this is the best baseball game ever. Like, I personally am a big fan of MLB The Show. I think they're the best sports games of all time. I would hear an argument that this is the best retro sports game ever for sure, though. And obviously, you can argue for NBA Jam and NHL 94 and Tecmo and whatever you want, but I think this is in that conversation, which is high praise indeed, my friends, and it is time to throw that praise. I am going to cue up some music, and when it stops, my buddy Brad and I are going to take a nice long look back at Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball, which originally released on the SNES in North America in March of 1994. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Let's go. All right, so joining me via the blank phone this week to talk Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball, which is honestly kind of an off-puttingly long name for a video game. It is a guy with a admirably short name. It's my friend Brad. That's how it's done, Brad. Brad, fucking in and out. How are you, short name?
Great entrance as always. Thank you so much for
Thanks.
Just really bringing it to another level as always.
I'm
good, man. How are you?
I'm great. I'm an MVP. It is a long name. Like, I was Googling it. I'm like, Ken Griffey. It's not, I always thought it was Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball, but it's Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball.
Well,
Starring Ken Griffey Jr. I added the starring part, but it's a long
I
name.
know it was probably on the box too. If you look at the box art for this game, you're right. It's just fucking words.
And it does,
everywhere,
it does star him. He's literally the only Major League player in the game. So it is Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball starring Ken Griffey Jr.
It's just, and it's such a one thing in this game that's like, shit.
But that,
like
we'll get into that.
But there's some we'll get into that. There's some interesting things that I did not realize, but we'll get into that for sure.
Yeah, like, I want to say, like, I'm trying to think. This might be the first baseball game we've ever covered on the show in 261 episodes, I think. But I
Uh,
want to know where you were with this. Like when I was growing up, as everyone famously knows, I grew up in a hockey house. I watched wrestling. That's why we haven't done a lot of football games, basketball games. Listen to the NBA Jam episode with Brad from about a couple of months ago.
yeah.
You'll find out how much I know about fucking basketball.
Oh,
I have
oh.
grown into quite the baseball fan. I actually would
I,
argue it's surpassed hockey as my favorite sport to watch. Like I love baseball.
yeah,
But
yeah. I have to say about the NBA Jam episode really quick. What was it? We'll be right back. Was one of the
oh
greatest.
fuck,
Like,
dude, that
Jesus.
episode went over. Like I was so nervous about that episode because I was like, everyone's gonna be mad about how little I know about basketball. And actually, that episode, people really that episode went over really well. And
Oh, really?
to
That's
its
great.
credit, NBA Jam was the tits. Like that game held up. So
Yeah,
that game was
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
But this one, like growing up, my dad brought back this game 31-1 from Cambodia, and it was like a ROM game for the NES with a bunch of games on it. And one of them was baseball. I think it was like black box baseball for the NES. And I knew nothing of baseball at the time, but my brother and I used to play it because we were kids and that was the game we had. And that
Oh,
was
wow.
actually, that was how I learned the rules of baseball, was playing that game. And I really liked it. So when I got a Super Nintendo, outside of hockey, that was like the game I was kind of interested in. And did you ever play Extra Innings on the Super
No,
Nintendo?
no. I grew up more on RBI baseball on
Oh,
the
gotcha.
NES,
Okay.
and then it played a little bit of Bases Loaded,
Yeah.
which was fun. No, I delved a little bit into it. Again, I did play this game.
Sure.
I remember being at a friend's house and just really battling them. Again, I was the snobby Genesis kid, so I had
Oh,
hardball
yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did
Wait,
play.
wait,
I did
wait.
play.
What was the baseball game on the Genesis?
It was called hardball.
Hardball.
Yes, like HARD ball.
I love it.
Hardball.
I love it. That's a great name for a game. Hardball.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Leisure Suit Larry's Hardball. Anyway, yeah, I played this one. We used to rent, I never owned it, but we used to rent this one quite a bit, and it was primarily for the home run derbies. And then also, the only baseball player I knew at one point was Ken Griffey Jr. And it was A, because of the backwards hat and the video games, and B, but because of Homer at the bat and Ken Griffey Jr.'s nerve tonic.
So wait, you didn't watch any baseball?
No, not at all. I honestly didn't know. I didn't start
Fuck
watching
it.
ball until I kind of started following it in the early 2000s, which is why I became a
Come on.
Nope. Which is why I became a Devil Rays fan, because they came into the league with that awesome logo, and I loved it. And
okay,
then Shaylee is a baseball
Jesus.
diehard, so she's the one that got me into it.
Jesus
But
Christ!
now
This
I
goes
wish I
up there
had.
with you think?
But
You missed the steroid era?
Oh, well, I mean, okay, like when I was in high school, like I like McGuire and Sosa and like everybody was following the home run.
You didn't watch any of it?
No, I would catch like Sports Center in the morning and see like, oh, they both got a home run.
Okay,
last
okay,
night.
that's fair.
But I wasn't like watching games. And I wonder now, with the Jays winning the 2 World Series in the mid 90s or early 90s, would I be a Jays fan today if I had started watching baseball as a kid?
I'm glad you. I see. I like, as you know, I'm a diehard White Sox fan from
Yep.
the early '90s. So, yeah, I did. I really did enjoy baseball. Griffey was one of the reasons why. It's funny you say long game names. Frank Thomas had a Genesis game called Frank Thomas's Big Hurt Baseball. So again,
That's
just
a terrible
very.
name.
Yeah, it's so bad. But
But
his nickname was the Big Hurt, but it was just like, that's the thing, right? During this era, like, there were so many baseball games.
no, dude, everywhere. But
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking this, like, out of even today, because like someone's gonna write in and argue with me, but if you were to take the NHL series, NBA 2K, MLB The Show, Madden, if we're just talking those four, and I know a bunch of you over in the city of Great Britain, you love your football, your FIFAs. I'm just talking like those. Even if you throw FIFA in, I'm a big believer that MLB The Show is the best sports game year in year out on the market.
100%, hands down. Anybody that tries to argue that, I'm sorry, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Like, they're great
Now,
games.
The game itself, I like this year's The Show. I'm on, like, I'm into early September of my franchise mode. I've played 95% of the games every season.
Sure.
Like during COVID time off, I played 162 baseball games.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's a great
I
game.
played every game, and the gameplay is perfect.
Yeah.
It is. It is okay. Is it? Let's not. Okay, it's not 100% accurate to what the game is. Like there are still glitches and small bugs.
Right.
But the game itself is the closest to being perfect. The computer is smart.
Yeah.
The like it plays like the sport, and the amount of you still see videos of glitches and stuff out of the show. If I guarantee you're probably going to get littered with them now on your account for it. But again, I have heard people say that FIFA is okay. It hasn't progressed to a point. They still, again, if your fans and everybody haven't realized it, I fucking hate EA, and because they're so fucking lazy. And I love NHL. The game this year was fantastic. It's a great online game. The single player is atrocious. It still sucks.
Really? I haven't played an NHL in years.
It's not. It's close, but again, it still glitches. The defensemen are stupid. It still does the same shit
But
everyone fucking complains about.
But now to that point, and that's a great way to segue to the point I was going to make is, because you were saying there's a lot of baseball games back in the day and stuff. I know nothing about making video games, but I genuinely feel like of the major sports, baseball is probably the easiest one to make a good game about, because with football and with hockey, you need the collision detecting, the goalies, stuff like that.
That's a very fair argument. That's a very fair argument
right?
too.
Like baseball. Like, dude, I was playing Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball. I'm gonna say it the full way every time, but I was playing it this morning, and like, it's basic, and we'll get into the game and the controls and stuff like that. But I was like, at its core, this almost somewhat feels like a Super Nintendo version of MLB The Show, because it feels like the formula hasn't really changed. You need to update the rules, update the rosters, make the graphics better, but like, it's just such a It's baseball. It's baseball. It's such a scientific game. And like, I think part of the reason I didn't like baseball growing up was because and I hear the argument. People are I guarantee I'm going to get the comments. People are like, baseball is boring. I hear it all the time. I get why people think baseball is boring. I used to think it's boring too. But when you actually just sit down and watch it, it's such a chess match. And that's what I find fascinating. And I think that translates very well into video games.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And like, it just, I didn't have the luxury of playing it, but I was watching videos, and it just brought back memories of that fucking curveball coming over the plate at the last second, and you're like, give me a break.
Oh, buddy.
But
the strike zones are bullshit in this fucking game. Bullshit. Bullshit.
It's like that piece of shit Angel Hernandez. Yeah, I'm gonna drop an ump's name this year. That piece of shit the other night missed 15 strikes that were clearly over the plate, and I'm pretty sure he was the designer for this game, for calling balls and strikes. It's just awful.
I promise all of you, like, we're going to get to the game now. We're 10 minutes in. This has been fun. But before I just quickly want to ask you, because we haven't talked baseball on the show before. Where do you stand on the concept of the automated strike zone? Are you yay or nay? Because I'm against it. I understand it can be frustrating when a home plate ump's got a bullshit zone, but I just feel like that's part of the game. That's part of sports. I'm in between right now because, again, Angel Hernandez the other night, I believe, I'm 95% sure I'm getting his name right, but he's a pile of shit umpire that literally makes the game about him. And I feel like if you're going to stick with these guys, then accountability has to be brought into the picture. Sure.
I want umps being interviewed after. I believe that should be happening in all sports, to be quite honest. I think refs should be able to be put into interviews, I think, in the NBA, NFL, all of it. Because if we have technology that can help us make the game better and call a ball and strike, like you see, like goals in soccer during FIFA right now, they're still missing calls because refs are stupid.
Right.
It's like... And the NBA has been caught with gambling and everything like that. And anybody that doesn't believe it's happening in other sports, well, you're an idiot.
The frozen envelopes. Sorry, I'm just being that guy now. I'm just being that guy now.
but when you think about it, it's like, would it be the worst thing? Would it change the game? I don't think so if they went automated, to be quite honest. But it's got to work. It's got to work from the moment you had placed it in. It just has to work.
I feel like if you
But
fucking the more
but
automated,
the fear,
like
the
like,
fear is you can hack it,
right?
and like some
Well,
guys gonna hack it, and like
I
I
mean,
don't know.
yeah,
It's a fine
Astros.
line. Yeah, fair, exactly.
No,
Yankees,
but no,
Rays,
I just
Red Sox, all of us.
yeah, I just feel like the Rays can't afford to hire someone to hack it. But all I'm saying is like the more automated sports get to me, like the more there's already an argument that baseball is too like scientific, it's too repetitive. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you're taking the human aspect out of sports with the more you automate it. But anyway.
I agree, but I also think with what they've done now and sped up the game, it's not the worst thing in the world.
I love
they
the
did
pitch
do
clock.
it.
I love the pitch clock.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, me too.
People that are complaining about it, I guess one person that used to watch, a friend of mine that used to watch baseball in the 80s said this is what baseball used to be. It would just
Right.
go, like play the game. Like,
Yeah.
it's not waiting 30 seconds and then throwing a curveball and it's a ball and
Right.
throw it back. And no, it's get the game going, and it's already made the game exciting. It's cut the game down from 3 hours. A lot of them are under 2.5, 2
It's
hours
dope.
and 45.
The only problem with it is when you're there live, you have less time to get drunk. But that's
It's very true, very true.
Minor
But
complaint, minor criticism.
yeah, but yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's helpful. You just, if you're gonna do it, you have to be all in and nail it
Sure.
from day one.
Yeah.
Is you have to nail it. But if you're not going to, then accountability at one point has to be brought up, and also these umps can't be 755 years old. Like that's it. Like I've seen some of these guys come out, and I'm like, why is my grandfather out there?
Right.
Like that. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, okay. So now that we've gone 13 minutes talking baseball. I love it. God, I love this stupid show. Speaking of how baseball used to be, so this game was in the early 90s, and I fired it up and I was playing it over the last few days to get ready for this. And I say we used to rent it all the time as we were kids. And I admittedly don't know the players, but that's one of the things I love about this game. I think this is so I'm kind of shocked this isn't a more common thing. And I don't remember this from when I was a kid because I didn't know any of the players. Some of the names in this game are so stupid, but I honestly wouldn't have known that they were fake because I didn't know anything about baseball.
Now, this is exactly what I was hoping you were going to say, because if you looked it up a little bit, like I kind of delved into this beforehand. They did some really cool things in the sense that, like for the Boston Red Sox, I don't know if you knew this, Adam, but they used the Cheers cast names. So Cliff Clavin
no, I didn't.
So Cliff Clavin played for the Red Sox. Now on the Phillies, which you're gonna have to load up now, Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed.
Really?
Out of Philadelphia.
I didn't know
Yes,
that.
man.
I thought they were just made up names. That's sick.
No, so what they did was, for the New York Mets, they used a lot of punk rockers, like old bands that played in New York.
Sure.
The great Bambino, Babe Ruth, they used his nickname. Ford, W. Ford was Whitey Ford. They used writers for certain teams. They, like in different cities, they used different guys. Like Marlon, one guy was M. Brando in Anaheim back then it would have been Los Angeles Angels. So it was Marlon Brando, Fred Astaire, Humphrey Bogart. Old actors were on the Angels. They were brilliant. It was brilliant. But like you said, and like that's not even a shot at you, and it's not a shot at any of us. But we were just like, oh, they don't have real players. Well, I'm gonna be Fred Astaire. But we just didn't realize it. Like we didn't realize that they were using actors' names. Which is cool. Like,
it is cool. I didn't know that. That's fucking sick. And one of the things about this game that I think is brilliant, that makes it even more brilliant, is if you've never played this game, I'm probably gonna get the terms wrong, but I'm almost positive I have what I'm trying to say correct. They had a deal with Ken Griffey Jr. to license his name, his likeness, put him in the game. They had a deal with MLB because they have the major league teams and their logos, kind of their parks. Like the stadiums aren't exact, but it's a Super Nintendo game. You can look with the math set. But they don't have the players. And so I believe what happened is they had a deal with MLB, but not with the MLBPA. But what they did
exactly right.
But what they did do is they gave you the option to change the name of every player in the game, and then they built the teams based around the actual rosters from that era.
Really?
And
I did not. Well, I did not know you could change the name.
Yeah, so you can go in and just rename everybody to their major league counterparts if you
shit.
want to. And I was like, it's like I heard an interview with the Iron Sheik, or not the Iron Sheik, pardon me. From ECW with the Sabu.
Sabu. Yeah.
I heard an interview with him, and he was talking about how he was in one WWE game, and he got a great payday from it. But then he was like, after that, they didn't want to pay me anymore. So they just put all my moves and everything in the game, and you could just create me. And I was like, that's exactly what they did with this game. I'm sure that saved them millions. They're like, we'll just make these animated players that, kind of resemble you, and then you can just name them whatever the fuck you want. And I was like, what
name
a smart
them anything. Yeah.
You could have, as
it's
a
actually
kid,
brilliant.
Dude, if you were a diehard, like, if I had NHL 95 as a kid, and they didn't have the actual names, but I could change the names of the players,
we would have done it.
I would have spent 2 days going through and naming every player. And so just
100%.
right there, and we haven't even gotten into like the gameplay or the grab or anything like that, but I just right off the hop, I'm like, what a smart smart workaround. I don't know how much they paid Ken Griffey Jr., but they clearly didn't have enough money left to pay anybody else, and it didn't fucking matter because you had.
It would
Ken
be very
Griffey Jr.
And it's funny when you think about it too. I bet you if we heard what the dollar total was to get that MLBPA license, we'd be like, they didn't pay that. But it's all relative to the time.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it could have been like $150,000, and they're like, "Oh fuck, we can't do that."
Yeah. Well, and I'm just looking up. I want to see who made this because I know this isn't an EA game. Like, it's not like it was somebody with like the.
No. Was it Rare? No, I don't think it was.
I'm just
Rare.
bringing it up right now. I should have had this up. But the point remains though that like that's a brilliant way to work around it. And to me, like, I just like that. Like, I like anytime I can customize the people. Remember WCW NWO Revenge? You could rename people, give them different costumes. I love it when I can tweak my game, because then if you want to go through and name every player who they are, you can do that.
Giving me that choice is huge.
If you want to go in and make it all your friends, you can. Like,
and
I like
when
that.
And when you think about it too, it's like, it's crazy that they could do it back then.
Yeah, it was
on the Super NES. You know what I mean? Like, that's awesome.
It was Software Creations, who was a studio under Acclaim, and they're gone now. So.
Oh, so it was under Acclaim.
Yeah, apparently saving the money on those teams didn't save a software. Anyway.
Acclaim had its hands in every game. Man,
yeah, they did. They were huge.
What a company was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So back in the day, you got Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball. Ken Griffey's on the box. I think it came with a Ken Griffey card. I never owned it, so I never saw that card. We just rented it. But then, so it's great that it's got the actual teams. It's got some of their parks, even though you don't really see them all that often.
See, it had they said it got up to like 90% of the parks, and then some of them they said they just made generic because back then they were like just big cement. Like the Houston Astrodome was just it was a pile of shit. It was just a baseball field in a dome.
And when you play the game, like 90,
you
this
can't
isn't
see shit.
Yeah, this isn't MLB The Show where the camera is like from the catcher's point of view. It's God, the classic. Me too. But this is like the classic old school sports where like it's basically the camera cuts off just behind the pitcher, just behind the batter, and it's almost like a top down look. Like you can't see everything. And then even when you hit the ball and then it cuts to like the fielders, like 90 it's mostly just like you don't see a lot.
Top down.
Yeah.
Top down.
So it doesn't really, I don't really even care about the parks. Like that they had some parks is cool. I really don't care. Like it doesn't matter to me at all.
It's an interesting fact too that I read was that only two teams played at night for most games, and it was Kauffman Stadium for the Kansas City Royals, and then my White Sox Comiskey Park would show nighttime at certain shots of the stadium and stuff, which was kind of interesting.
Like in the game?
Only did those. Yeah, in the game.
Shit! I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's the only two that actually showed at night. Yeah.
Great attention to detail.
There were small things that they did, and I again, you and I have talked about this so many times, but the thing I like about this game too is like even the sprites. Like I was watching a video and like the White Sox logo was on the jersey.
Yeah,
like you could see it in the sprites. Like they again, was it revolutionary? No, but the time was placed in because there were so many sports games that came out before this. And again, it's not taking a shot at the companies that built the games or anything like that, but they took pride and they said, hey, like that kind of looks like the Blue Jays logo, or that like good job. Like, you know what I mean? Like it still had that, you could see the advancement in this game from like RBI baseball to the NES,
Sure.
right? Like it showed evolution into the new system,
sure,
which is always kind of like the cool thing that I really enjoyed about, again, growing up in these eras where we went from the Atari 2600 and then you got the NES, and like it was mind blowing.
Yeah.
Like it really was. Like I was saying to somebody, you know, since I'm 485 years old, as I always tell you.
Yeah, you're gross.
Yeah, okay. I'm like 2 years. I'm 2 years older than you. Shut the fuck
I'm not
up.
gross yet. Anyway, continue.
You're 40 though. Are you not?
I will be. Not yet.
When?
Not as of this recording.
Oh shit. Okay. Anyways, back to the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was saying to somebody, like, we grew up in such an advanced time with everything.
Yeah.
We get to see everything, and it like in the sense of technology and video games, televisions, how much better it got. But this game, like, the 90s were so much fun because of that. And
Yeah.
this is one of those games that I feel like is a part of that genre.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you put this, if you built a wall of video games on like if you had like a, I don't know, like a just where you stored your shit. What do you call it? Like
a shelf.
Yeah, thank you. Jesus Christ.
You are old.
My old
Fuck
ass.
me. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Joe Biden, everybody.
Wow.
Anyways, like one of those things that stores stuff.
Oh fuck.
No, but if you had a shelf with your Super NES games on it, this game's on there.
Oh yeah.
I really feel that way. Like it's this WCW, NWO, all that shit.
Well, I want to say, like, because you brought up the graphics, I really did want to spend a minute on that. Like, dude, this game, I was actually a little bit shocked when I fired it up because I was expecting that classic top-down, which it is, you know, and like there's not a lot of detail in the grass and the base tracks, which I'm fine with. But I was really expecting it to kind of just look like a Tecmo Bowl, where the only real difference between the sprites is like the color of their shirt, the color of their hat, and then frankly whether or not they're black or white, which is always a nice touch when you get the right often, you know, race, whatever, you know, all that is great. But when I actually like fired it up, like they're really almost over the top looking, like big superhero looking characters with these giant muscles, which I mean, admittedly, maybe with steroids maybe that's not the most sarcastic design of all time, but like the players really look good. You can see like the rippling veins in their muscles. Some of them come up to bat, they're chewing gum, and they actually like blow bubbles.
They blow a bubble
while they're standing there. When you strike out, they'll like turn around, some of them, and like snap the bat over their knee before they leave. I was truly shocked at how good this game looked. I do think once you hit the ball and the camera, so we're talking the field of vision when you're at bat. Once you actually hit the ball, admittedly, then it does get a little bit uglier.
Yeah.
It's not awful, but it does get a little bit uglier.
It gets a little NES-y.
It does. It does.
Like, it does. And again, it's not a shot. It was the time, right? Like that system couldn't go from that batting to those big meatheads out in the outfield.
No,
and being the same size.
And what's funny about it is that like it almost looks like two different games. Like when you're at bat,
you're
or
right.
when you're in the menus,
you are right. Yeah,
it looks spectacular. But then when you get into the outfield, the only thing that looks even remotely cool in the outfield, or when you're fielding the ball, is the way the ball grows as it comes up, and you actually see like the red threads and stuff as it spins.
Yeah,
and then and I was like, that looks kind of neat. But then like it gets into the outfield, and like the walls are just green with the static people, and like I was playing the home run derby, and you're crushing dingers, and it's like if it gets over the wall, there's a couple instances where there's crowds, but then there's a lot of instances where you're just kind of playing in a blue void, or maybe there's like a half of a brown building out there. Like,
I'm not gonna. I say this without trying not to take a shot. It kind of is like the Wayne Gretzky Stanley Cup hockey, you know, when they have the crowd where it just turns into a void.
Now that said, I want to make sure I really don't care. Like, and like if the game is fun, that's what matters.
No, the game is still fun.
And like anyone that's ever played a baseball game, you spend 75% of the game in that pitcher batter dual screen. Like
Right.
you're not fielding very often. Actually, that's one of the things
No.
that I found. Okay, so like fuck, we're like 26 minutes into this. I still want to get into the controls, the game modes. Let's you know what? Let's do the break here. That way it's out of the way. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about the game modes and the controls and all that stuff because I have a lot of good shit. I don't. You know what? Okay, quick before we go to the break, do you have anything really bad to say about this game? I have one minor criticism, and that's, I'll get it out of the way before the break. And it's kind of has to do with the strike zone. It is fun to play, and maybe I'm just rusty because I haven't played it in 20 years. But like the pitching. Like when you throw a pitch, if you hold down, it is a fastball. If you hold up, it's a changeup. And then left and right, you can like curve it. But you can literally control the ball from the second it leaves your hand to the second it crosses the plate. And I found it practically impossible to strike out the computer. It was I was either throwing balls.
That part is shit.
Or they were crushing it.
It's kind of shit.
And like you can curve
gameplay in a lot of ways is good, but the pitching. Yeah, it just kind of made it too, like I can't stand being able to change the ball's trajectory as it's fucking hitting the plate.
You literally like you could throw if you throw it slow enough, like if you hold up and throw the change up, you can like curve it to where it's like almost out of the batter's box and then bring it back over the plate.
Yeah,
or vice versa. And sometimes you're getting strikes out, and I'm like, what are you talking about? If he had been in the other box, I would have hit him. What are you talking about?
It's.
But I also
it's one of those games where I do remember anger.
But
I'll tell you that.
But
there was anger with this
because I remember Black Box Baseball on the NES kind of being the same, where you could control the ball, not to this extent, but you could control it once you throw it. The issue I think too is I don't know what the alternative is back then.
True, but again, it's a frustration and it's shit, but. You can go back and ask one of the producers, and the guy would look at you and go, "What the fuck did you want us to do?
Right,
just throw fastballs? Did you want one pitch?
Yeah, like you don't have the
capacity to build it into the game.
I don't know which one is.
They weren't advanced enough.
Yeah, you don't have the X and Y axis. Like you can't lower the ball. It's basically just how fast it goes across the plate and where it's going across. the plate.
It's the evolution of the systems, right?
Yeah.
It was better than the NES version, but it was also like, okay, like this is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's a fine line, but again, it's like everything else. We just complain.
Yeah. Like the first game I fired up to play yesterday, I was down 12-0 in the sixth, and I was like, and I had been getting some hits, but it was just like I'm like I either walk them or they hit it, and then I'm just hoping that I can get them out. And the fielding controls, I am not criticizing. They just took me a little bit of time to get to. And that was part of my problem too, is I was not making it hard on them to get extra bases and stuff.
I don't recall how to field the ball, but when that screen changes, I can tell how there's a learning curve. From 20 years ago to try and pick it back up.
You need to be fast. And so, okay, you know what? Here's the break. We'll do the break because I don't want this to be any more criticisms. I love this game. We'll do the break.
Yeah.
Drink some water, and then we'll come back and we'll get into the controls and stuff.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we were talking about the controls. Yeah, so when you get it, not so much when you get a hit, because then you're just controlling your running, it's easy. But when you're fielding, dude, so you throw your pitch, and one thing I want to point out, 90% of this game is done with just the B button and the D-pad. You use A.
Okay.
Use A if you want to step off the mound to go for like a pickoff. And once you field a ball, you use A if instead of throwing it, you want to run. Like tag a guy out or run to the base or whatever. But like throwing the ball is like, it's all B, and then the D-pad is the diamond. So like down is home, up is second, etc. And so it's really simple. Like once somebody makes contact with the ball and it swaps to you controlling one of your fielders, once you've got a hold of the ball, it's simply a matter of equating the D-pad to the diamond and then pushing B to throw it to whatever base you want to throw it to. Very basic. Okay. I'm a big fan of less is more. Sure, like we all love, we don't all love, but like people love NHL, people love MLB The Show. I'm sure somebody out there loves Madden, but like the controls today have gotten like, I don't think somebody that doesn't know how to play video games can pick up a controller and play one of these games today. Like
No.
it's a fucking science experiment to play one of these
Well,
games
when
today.
I was playing, like, I'm not gonna lie, I was playing the show last night, and I put a lot of hours into this game, and I fucking hucked one into the stands, trying to turn a double play
Attaboy.
with the bar. I hit it too quickly. I may or may not have had too many edibles last night
Sure.
playing, but that's
But
that's a different story.
like
But yes,
they've gotten complex, man.
God,
And
I love that. God, I love turning a double play.
Oh,
And it's
it's
great
the
in
best.
it's great in any game. But yes, you can tell just watching that screen change from the batting view to like when you do make contact and it goes to the outfield. I can see what you're saying.
It's nuts.
You gotta be quick because it like doesn't the screen go black for a second and then kick back in
It is
kind of?
well, okay, so you're pitching and you throw your fucking 65-mile-an-hour changeup that you fucking basically
Curve.
you
That
basically have to
suddenly
go to
turns
third.
into a curveball
Yeah.
over the plate.
It goes to third base and then hooks back in, but then that guy
Yes.
crushes it because they crush everything that goes over the plate. And
Yes.
then it's like a split. It is literally just black for like a split second, and then
Yes,
that
yes.
ball, like when you're playing like a modern game like an MLB The Show, once there's a hit, then it goes to like your outfield, and there's like a marker on the ground, and you controlling the person
Yeah.
near, and you get into that marker.
Yeah, you don't get that.
Dude, you do not. The camera
Yeah.
does not leave the ball. It's not like the modern
No.
games where it goes to where the ball is going. It does
Yeah,
not
it doesn't give you that.
leave the ball.
Yeah, a good way to explain to people that don't kind of understand, like when you're the advancements of the sports games, especially for baseball, is like when you hit it in the show, it goes to the outfield, but it gives you that broad perspective where it kind
Yeah.
of goes to a wide camera. You're like, okay, there's your outfielder. There's the circle where the ball's going to be. Get your ass over there. This game stays in that tight screen, and the ball goes boop, and it goes up, and you're like, oh fuck, I think it's right field.
Well-
like it's going to the right, but you're like, I
Well,
don't know.
What it does is
where.
it like the second you make and by the time I was playing my second and third game, I was getting a little bit more. It's just a product of the time. You just got to get used to it. But like what it's
Yeah.
expecting you to do is there's a tiny little like map in the bottom right corner that is basically the whole diamond. And
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And once the ball is hit, it puts an X where the ball is going to land. And then it shows a little blue dot, which is whatever fielder it's decided to let you control. And there is no, hey, we're going to give you 2 seconds to get your bearings. It is like, okay, you've got about a second and a half to
Get
fucking
going.
get to where that ball is going to be. And it is, if you get it, it's great. And it feels good. If you get it, it feels good.
Yeah,
But if you
yeah,
miss
yeah,
it, you
100%.
are fucked. And it takes a while to really get a feel because you get, again, like I was saying before the break, you spend 70% of a baseball game either in the stats screens or in the pitcher versus catcher or pitcher versus
Yeah.
batter
Yeah.
screen. So when it cuts to outfielding, you're not getting as much time with that. And dude, there were a few where I was like, fuck, because I was expecting it to, like, say they hit it up like the third baseline, and I'm expecting to be controlling the outfielder, so I'm bringing them in. But then I realized, like, oh fuck, it's got me controlling the third baseman. I should have gone out to it, but I wasn't thinking that because I figured it was going too far. And then by the time I realized who I'm supposed to be controlling, it's already gone. And not complain, it just takes time to get a feel for. Once you get it, though, I gotta say, man, it feels really. It is so satisfying. I just find baseball games as a whole so satisfying. Like you were mentioning earlier,
Oh,
turning
yeah.
a double play feels great. Getting a hold of one when you're batting feels
Oh.
incredible. Whether it's a home run or just like a deep into the, it doesn't matter. It
Yes.
just fucking
A nice
feels
double
good.
off
Oh.
the wall.
Ah,
When you hit one off the wall, or when the screen changes in the show to the back, like behind, where
Yeah.
you hit a home run,
yeah.
it's beautiful.
Oh, buddy.
And but again, we keep kind of referencing the show, but when you hit a home run in Ken Griffey Jr. baseball, you get that same feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
You do feel like when you get a hold of one, you're like, yeah, fuck you and your fucking change up curveball shit.
Oh, buddy, it is hitting
when you get a hold of one,
Yeah.
it's hitting a home run. I think is it's up there on the list of things that everybody wants to do, and it still qualifies in video games.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, when you crush one, it's like fuck you.
It feels so
Every
good, and
single
like
time. Oh yeah,
that ball, like it. So it cuts to the outfield view right away, and then the ball is like rising up, and it might even go so far up that it disappears, and you're still.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And what it does is it like, and that noise keeps getting higher while it's going up, and then it as it's coming down, And so when you
Yep.
crush one and it disappears off the screen because it's got up so high, you're just listening. And you're like,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
I'm 2/3 of the way to the wall, and this thing is still going. And you're just like, that's you want to put the controller down and just be like, who wants to fucking touch me? That thing, thing's going to the freeway. That feels so fucking good.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's still, like we've discussed in so many games. I know you and I have, and every other guest you've had on. It takes you back where you look at your friend.
Oh, buddy.
Who's sitting beside you that threw that pitch. It's either your friend, your brother, your cousin. It doesn't matter. The guy you don't know that's at the party and you're playing and you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Just,
you want to just be like, what are you doing? What is that?
It's a warm feeling, and especially when you were like, for me, I was the younger brother. And if I get a hold of one on my brother or beat him at Street Fighter or just do something, I just glance at him.
Yeah.
And then it was like, we never really fought as brothers, but he made sure the next game I was fucking destroyed.
Oh,
but
buddy.
that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I still got one.
Absolutely.
And that's all.
It feels so good.
I walked out of that room. I probably lost 15 out of 16 games or whatever it was. But if I got one, not only did I feel like, well, I got one, but it's kind of like you're growing. You know what I mean? Like, I earned my brother's respect a little bit more that day. It didn't matter in the moment. He was pissed off.
Yeah.
But I knew deep down it was like, I'm getting better. I'm getting this. I'm hitting dingers off him. Fuck him.
It's so satisfying.
No,
and
it really is.
You can literally be down like 10-2, and then you crush a solo shot, and you're like,
yes,
I'm gonna enjoy this because I just
got one. Because if I'm getting one, this is the only enjoyment I'm getting today. I still do that when I play the computer during the show.
Yeah,
I'll be getting fucking murdered, and like I can't get a hit, and then I'll hit a home run, and I'm like, all right. I got one for the stats.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
It's something.
It's
I struck one guy out.
Oh, it's so good.
I struck one guy out. That's at least good.
So
it's like,
so the controls are great. The only complaint, and it's not even a complaint, but the only negative-ish comment I have to make about the controls is just that swap from batting to outfielding that takes some practice. Like you need to be in-game shape because that is a big adjustment that I can't even express how little forgiveness there is there. It is like you have a split second. It's real time. I feel like it's real time. It is as fast as an actual baseball game.
It's one of those things again for the time. It was tough. We had to, again, it was growing up with, hey, if the game didn't come with instructions, you got to figure it out your fucking self.
And what was
the same thing? It's just you got to get better. Yeah. And the more you play it, the more you got better. And learning, okay, I got to pay attention to that little map in the corner. Yeah. And get going.
And what was rad again about this one is I love how simple the control. Like the X and Y buttons don't even matter. Like the only reason this isn't on the NES is because graphically it couldn't handle it. But it plays like an NES game, which is a great comment, like a great compliment. It's so simple.
No, you're 100%. You're right. You're right.
So
that
fun.
Is. Anybody that thinks that's the shot, that's not a shot at all. That's what you wanted.
Yeah,
you wanted these games to advance, but still be pick up and play. And this is a prime example of a great. Or I don't want to like. This is not none of the games like the sports games really during this era of sports games were really simulations. No, they were arcade. Yeah, they were arcade-like, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That came later. The simulation style came later.
Well, I assume NBA Jam, that's what actual basketball is like, right?
Well,
2v2, shove each other down, light on fire.
Yeah.
I'd watch if that's how it was. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, Slam Ball's back.
Yeah, Slam Ball's back. That's right. Fuck me. Yeah. So anyway, so the controls are dope. It looks nice. So the other thing is the modes, and we never really played the season mode when I was a kid. We would rent it and we just played the home run derby, which we'll get to. But like I will say too, it's got a great season mode because you can go the 28 games, I think it's like 70 games, or the full 162 games. What I really liked about it too is you could actually pick. I don't remember another sports game doing this. You could pick between the 93 rules and the 94 rules because they were changing the playoff format, and you could pick which one you wanted to play. And I just like
that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with a lot of games
to include that in 1994 though. Wow.
Like because again, I haven't played like NHL in a few years, but I assume that you can kind of set up your own season now if you want to change the number of teams to make the
Oh
playoffs
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff,
You
right?
can customize the shit out of it.
But yeah, like
But
in
in
this day,
'94,
yeah, that was a big thing. So I really
that's
wasn't.
very cool.
I was
That's very
really
cool.
impressed with that. It just doesn't have a lot of modes. You can do like an exhibition game against somebody or the computer. You can play like a mock World Series where you just play a best of 7. You can do the season mode, which 3 different lengths, whichever of those 2 formats you want. And then there's the All-Star game where you literally can play the All-Star game, which I can't imagine anybody was like, I can't wait to play an All-Star game. Or you can play the Home Run Derby, which it took us 42 minutes to get there. I'm almost positive everybody listening to this that grew up playing Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball, that was where you were headed most of the time, right?
Yes,
buddy.
Yes. You sat with a group of friends.
Yeah,
and it was
much fun.
It was eliminator tournament style. It was hours,
dude.
And just laughing.
Oh, it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Hey man, this is the epitome of your podcast, dude. It's the memories of these games, good or bad, always lead back to sitting with a group of friends laughing or fucking yelling at each other.
As a kid,
like that's what it was.
Yeah, as a kid, I didn't even know the Home Run Derby was a real thing. I just knew that I was like,
God.
I didn't know anything about baseball.
Are you?
I'm a hockey kid. Talk to my parents.
No, but movies.
They were
anything.
But I know video games. That's why I have a video game show. But I thought this was like so cool that so all we have to do is sit here and hit home runs, and it's like every pitch is a perfect home run pitch, and all you need to do is just hit B at the right time, and it's so. So by some fluke, if you're listening to this and you've never played this and you don't know what the Home Run Derby is, basically you just have 2 players one-on-one. The Home Run Derby, it's more than this, but it's 2 players one-on-one, and you basically just have to hit as many home runs as you can. And every time you hit a ball and it's not a home run, it's an out, and you have 10 outs. And you just need to hit as many home runs as you can. And it is so fucking infuriating when you go on a spell where you have 4 or 5 pitches where you're like, you feel like your timing's good and they're either coming up just short or they're just grounders or something, and you're like, come the fuck on. But then it's so weird, dude. Even playing it this morning, you'll get into a zone just like they do in the real Home Run Derby where it is just pitch after pitch after pitch of
you're just crushing it,
and you're just listening to that and you just feel like a fucking rock star, and it feels so good. Except when you play against a computer, you have to play against Ken Griffey Jr., and that guy is fucking doped up or something because he's cheats.
He's Ken Griffey Jr.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that mode, and you're right. You sit there and play it with your brother or your friends or whomever, and it is just so much shit talking and laughing. And the best is. Say you and I were having a home run derby against each other, and I hit 12, and now you're up, and you still have 2 outs left, and you're at 9 or 10, and now it becomes this is intense. Every push of that button could make or break this derby, and it's fucking I love it.
Like we've said before, how many days or how many nights did you play with your buddies, and you're sitting there playing, and you're sweating?
Yeah,
you're sweating.
Yeah,
you're literally sweating because. You're all yelling and screaming and sitting close, shoving each other, just laughing, having a great time. And then, like you just said, you've got 12, I've got 9, I've got 3 outs left, and I go on a heater, and then I fuck it up, and then you.
It was epic.
And you start yelling at me, and then it's.
I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but when I started replaying it to get ready for this show, I was like, I don't even know if I remembered that it had this great season mode and everything. Because all we would do is just play home run derbies. That was all we wanted to do.
You're right. I knew there was, I didn't remember you could play 162 and you could change players, but you're right. The home run derby and then the single player mode was always went home run derby, then single player.
Of course.
And probably, which is fine. It made sense.
Yeah. It probably explains why fucking great outfielders don't get it's not, no one's getting a baseball game named after them based on their incredible defensive play. What's Ken Griffey Jr. known for, right? Hitting dingers. That's why you're I don't know, man. I fucking I love this stupid
well,
game.
in reality, he is one of the greatest outfielders. But you're
Sure,
right.
but that's not what that's not what
It's not
everyone's
a
talking
cover.
about.
The cover photo of him is not jumping into a wall catching a fly ball.
Yeah, exactly.
It's him swinging a fucking dinger.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
fuck me, man. What a oh my gosh. Like, truth be told, like, there's not a ton of meat on the bone. There's a great career mode. You can rename the players. It's got all the teams, but everybody loves a home run derby. And like, once like I think we've covered just like I don't know what else there is to cover. Like it's just I was shocked at how well, dude. I don't know if they're old sports games go one of two ways. They're one of two ways. They're either fucking horrendous by today's standards, or
Yes.
they age like a fine wine. And this is one of those ones that can go in the same conversation as NHL 94 and NBA Jam and Tecmo Bowl. And they're just those games that, like, in 50 years, this will still be fun to pick up and play.
It's one of the it goes onto the list where you might be sitting with friends, or like I got buddies that have kids now that are 15 years old. You could put in 6 games in a weekend and go, okay, these are the 6 games you and your buddies are playing. This is on that list. You know what I mean? Like you just said, NHL 94, Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball,
NBA Jam.
NBA Jam, shit like that. Like there's a like WCW versus NWO Revenge.
Yeah.
Like there in that genre of games, this is in there to just say, okay, you and your buddies team up. Here you go. Watch this. Play this.
Yeah.
You're doing a home run derby. Winner gets this. Whatever. You know what I mean?
And
like this is a great game right now that I could look at if with the right group of friends that I have, we'd gamble on this.
Yeah. Oh,
like we'd put money down. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like literally, it's one of those games where NHL 94, we'd be like, okay, home run derby, winner takes all. Everybody throw in $10.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, it's fucking.
And it would be
so
done. We'd be there all night, and that's a positive. Like it probably would get ugly, but I'm just saying it would be fun.
Absolutely. I was just. I mean, I don't think I even need to like convince anybody listening to this of this. Like, I love old video games, and this is just one of those ones that I'm like, this is why. Like, I haven't played you in 25 years, and within minutes, I was like, oh, I remember all of this.
Hey, it's an old friend.
It's an old friend. If only he hadn't got hooked on Nerve Tonic, he could have had a great career.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey.
You're right. You are right. I wish I'd love to get that photo signed.
Oh,
anyways,
man.
One thing I will say too is like to show people like listening, like this game I read too sold 1.2 million copies.
Yeah.
And like when you think about that in 1994, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a big time game.
But I also think like, and I think part of that is because it was legitimately a very good, fun video game. But I also think part of it was like, it was probably, I have no idea what they paid Ken Griffey Jr. to be on this game and endorse this game and everything.
It helped.
Like that. But that was a great use of your money, like a great use of your money. So
it was you knew partway it was a gamble, but around that 94, 95 era was that fun. That was the era of when you finally got to see really athletes coming, like the Jordans, the Griffeys, like just great athletes coming out to be the spokesperson for things. And again, like we were discussing, like there was World Series baseball in the Genesis. There was RBI baseball 94. RBI baseball, what people don't realize too, is like RBI baseball was back in the Genesis days, along with Bases Loaded. There was ESPN Baseball Tonight. Okay, like there was some really bad fucking baseball games, but it's crazy to think that with the licensing agreements, it was the Wild West back then. You could, like we talked about when NHL 94 came out, there was like 7 NHL games.
Sure.
Like there was 7 hockey games out on the market.
Yeah.
There was a shit ton of baseball games out on the market, and this game sold 1.2 million copies. Proves that it was like legit, and it was looked at as like. It wasn't a simulation. Let's take that out of the equation. Like it wasn't, like it was close to being like it's a baseball game.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more arcadey and fun, and being able to move the ball differently, and then just hit dingers and home run derbies and stuff. But just a really fun, solid game that sold a shit ton of copies.
Deservedly so. Yeah, I loved it. I love this game. I can't believe it took us this long to review a baseball game, but I'm glad that we started with this one because I'm like, I would be very hard pressed to find a retro baseball game that I like more than Ken Griffey Jr. Presents Major League Baseball. Like, I fucking, are you ready? Are we good? I think we've covered everything. Are you ready to score this thing?
Sure.
All right.
How do you want to score it? Backwards hats? Backwards hats?
Yeah. I was going to say, what about 162 games? Because of schedule.
Jesus Christ. All right. 162 games. What do you give it?
Oh, God, dude. I like 150. Like, it's a 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's a great game. This is
Yeah.
This is a great, like, I'll tell you too, like, I have no idea if that company's gone. I assume Acclaim owns the rights to it. I don't know, but like, oh my God, it's very hard to re-release old sports games because you got to get Ken Griffey to sign off on it. You're going to have to get MLB to sign off on it because of all the teams.
Yeah,
which means you're going to get all the team owners to sign off on it.
But but
we probably won't see it ported, but God, I wish we would because I fucking love this game. I don't think we'll ever
this
get
on the
it,
Switch,
but I would love it. I'd buy it. I would pay $20 to own this exact game on the Switch. I'd pay $20 for it. So
it's funny too when you think about it, like with what I said about they really, when you think about it though, Adam, is like with them putting in like Clavin and Brando and Astaire, they got away with shit.
Sure.
Because when you think about that now, you can't take people's names. You can't use actors' names. Like
you probably
can't put Balboa.
If it's not their likeness, I bet you could use the name. Like,
well,
how can you own a name?
Balboa. You're gonna go play as the Phillies now, aren't you?
Yeah, I actually probably am gonna fire it up and have a look at the Phillies roster now. Yeah,
yeah,
that's fucking sick.
Yeah, when I read R. Balboa, I'm like, well, I know Adam's now a Phillies fan.
That's my guy. That's my boy.
Yes.
What are you giving it out at 160?
You know what? I'm gonna give it the same score, man. 150. It's a game that, like you said, you started playing it and you're like, and then you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You gave it the time to really. I know how to do this again. I know it's like riding a bike. It's the same thing as everything else. It's muscle memory. Once you get going with that controller in your hand, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's
I genuinely feel like the biggest criticism you could throw at it is the lack of MLB players, and they have the most perfect workaround that, assuming that you've got the patience to put, a couple hours into going through and changing all the names, right? Like
and again, that alone, where it's proven for the times where like you could just picture these guys designing the game in the room going, well, fuck, we can't afford to get the players. Yeah. All right, well, let's just put an edit mode in. Yeah. What do you mean?
I love it.
Put a fucking edit mode in it. If somebody wants to do it, they do it themselves.
Yeah,
that's our workaround. And you just laugh. And you just laugh because somebody from MLB back in the day was like, these motherfuckers.
You sons of bitches.
Somebody everybody's in the game. They put everybody in. How? They put an edit mode. And there's nothing they could do about it.
There's nothing.
Because they say, hey, you want to put your name in? Go ahead. You want to put in Jay Buhner and Frank Thomas and the 1994 New York Yankees? Go ahead.
Yeah. That was great. Fucking great game. That was fun. Buddy, I wasn't sure how this episode would go because, like I said, there's not a ton of meat on this bone, but there was enough. This bone's full of steroids because this was fun. This was a good episode. That was a fun game. I'm actually going to go play a little bit more of it. I love that game. Great talking to you. Man, you're on a hot streak because you got to do NBA Jam and then you got Ken Griffey Jr.'s Major League Baseball. We're going to have to do some shitty sports game next just to even things out.
Oh, shit. You're still making up for Shaq Fu.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I probably owe you one more good game to make up for Shaq Fu, and then we'll call it.
Hey, again, we tried to. It was Shaq Fu, and then we were going to do WrestleMania, and then we just said that
kid. There's nothing there.
Jesus. No. But no, it's always a pleasure. It's always a good time.
Likewise, buddy. That was fun. Thank you for doing this.
No problem. Thank you.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode, Brad. Thank you so much for giving me a call and talking a little baseball. I appreciate it. And every single one of you nerds listening to this right now, whether this was your first Remember the Game or maybe your 261st Remember the Game, thank you for giving us a chance. I know there's a lot of retro gaming podcasts out there, and I appreciate that you give us a little bit of valuable time in your sexy ears. And if you want more of these, baby, patreon.com/remember the game. Subscriptions start at $3 a month. You get yourself up to 4 additional shows a week, all ad-free. Fucking hundreds, I almost said thousands, but it's not thousands yet. Hundreds and hundreds of archive bonus podcasts, ad-free, waiting for you. And you can now check them out on Spotify. Just look for Remember the Game Industries on Spotify. You should see the full Patreon feed there. It's got the Angry Adam logo as the avatar. And even if you're not a Patreon, you can scroll through and see the entire lineup. And then it is very, very simple to sync up your Patreon and Spotify, and then you can just listen to the show there, and it's fucking... it's about fucking time. Life is great. It's awesome. Also, if you didn't hate this, maybe leave us a nice review, would you? I don't know what they accomplish, but the other shows ask for them, so I'm going to do the same. We've been getting some nice ones lately, and they make me feel good about myself, so I appreciate that. And what else do I have to plug? You can find me on Twitch. Whenever I feel like getting on there. It's usually 2 or 3 times a week. Twitch.tv/member the game. Just come by and say hi. I've been working on Batman for the NES lately. I've also been playing a lot of Tetris over there. It's good times. And I have a P.O. box. You can find that at rememberthegamepodcast.com. No big gifts. Just send me something little. Send me a postcard, a letter. Let me know where you're listening. I'll send you one back. We'll be friends. It's good times. While you're at rememberthegamepodcast.com, don't forget to check out our merch because it is all on sale, 20% off till the end of August, including our new 5th anniversary shirts featuring me and my dog Molly, and our Saturnian World Order SWO shirts for you weird Sega Saturnians. That is it. I'm going to thank some patrons and get out of here. I'll be back tomorrow for all those patrons with Expansion Pass, where I will answer your Play 1, Remake 1, or Race 1s. Friday, it'll be Game Patch, and next week, it's a whole nother slab of podcasts, including Purple Monkey Dishwasher on Monday, where Mark and I will rank every episode from Season 1, The Rambling Idiot on Tuesday, Expansion Pass Thursday, Game Patch Friday, and Remember the Game 262 on Wednesday, which, if all the stars align, will be a revisited episode about Final Fantasy VI. Take it easy, everybody. Thanks for listening. Talk to you on the next one. Cheers, so long, goodbye. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all the content I churn out every week without all of your support. The following people are at the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/remember the game. And as such, I am contractually obligated to say their names as quickly as possible. So a huge thank you to Alex McIntyre, Buck Dew, Nothing Could Possibly Go Wrong, Philip Ramsey, FR, AJ Mukherjee, Johnny Zubu 81, Lord Stay Puffed, Flinny123 is Sarah Flynn, Ryan Whitcomb, Big Daddy Randall, Scissor Fist, Elephant Calves, Uncanny, Preston Dylan Tourette, Cody Thompson, Liquor Like Luigi, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Cesar, Plow King, Buy Me Bone Storm, or Go to Hell, Matt Zeus, Adam Blank's Evil Twin, lost my place in my spreadsheet there. Bula, Glue Scappin, Super Nintendo Chalmers, Blobby Rogers, Brian Richmond, Sabin, the guy who does things, Robbie Air, Jay Callahan, Adam Blank still hasn't reviewed Mario Galaxy, Shoeboxers, Atrio Wormwood, Raging Irish, That One Kid Josh, Mark Sneed, E-Man Trucker, The Supreme Chozorizo, Fallen Snow Kiku, Tyler Bauer, It's OG, Hired Goons, Who, B Money, Mellow Yellow 8787, Benjamin Atkins, Faded Sufferance, Alex Ramos, Sour Goat Face, Max Sandin, Frosty Bear, Brian Weber, Lord Longrod Von Hugendong II, Digital Dave, Because 19, Shorzy, Can't Destroy Her, Kevin Monroe, Dr. Nightmare 23, The Big Deal, Naif, Adam Martinette, Nick Creature, WestGen, Postman, Darth Skywalter, Solomon Soto, Just Car Pranks, Mr. Papa Giorgio, Ichi Nutsuru, Lucas Valadez, It's the Bigfoot, Alex R, Ryan Perry, Ted Explosion, Tom Houlihan, Neil Cooper, Alexander Camps, Dakota Guy, Works for Me, AB Kellen, Knife Goes and Guts Come Out, Kia Pup, Brandon DeZeba, Bobby Litton, Oh My God It Froze, Chris Lovin, Big the Cat, Zamatos, Christopher Britt, Cam Nelly 23, Quiet Place Queen, Burt Macklin, Trevor McKee, Chevy Boy 9211, Bulma Simp, Hitchy Poo, Beef Dingleberry, Timothy Sabrinsky, John M. Watkins, On My Foot, Graham Kennedy, Musty Beetle, Radioactive Man, Maverick Marty, Christian Gabriel, Brian Neese, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Isaiah Squeaknut, Sleeper Hit, Colin Bollinger, The Fletchman, Nerdy Hybrid, Donnie the Dude Walter, Sam Carpenter, Drugs and Ben, okay, Franklin Badge, John of the Adult Children Podcast, James Juan Francesco, Current Remember the Game Hall of Famer Mark McHugh, Max Lagroom, Them Boys on the Roof, General Fury, Cody Richardson, Nicole Aldena, Oroku Saki's Gardener, Chris Williams, Joe Stone, Jimothy, K-Atch, Esteban Navarro, High Plains Drifter, Hego Waffle, Antonio Echeverria, Pet My Peeve Podcast, Storm Beagle, Scary Terry, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Wyatt the Surgeon Who's Not a Surgeon Rowe, a dude named Adam, Decoy Man, Fuzzy99, Gabe, Stud Still Smash, Sean Ramos, Evolva, Leroy Westrich, Nicola, Thomas Smith, C-Spin, Beaver Boy, Laces Out Dam, Biddy, Thomas Childs, Jake Carter, Nick Amos, Eric James, Ruben Elizal, Joe the Sandman, Phil Lencher, Juris Dr. Mario, Mizuru, Steve Dulk, Jameer Williams, DBXJ, Nova Crane, Ray Sam Wantonga, John Ray Pram, Elijah Burns, Chugger22, Triple, Frosty Feet 492, Chris Dickin, Ballsack Teabagger, Zach Shepard, Holmes, Denzalo, Trevor Leahy, Just a Fish, Sir Francis Cake, John Woodruff, Tunable Power, Daniel, Captain N, Jeff Bergeron, Zonko 504, Titan 420, Squints, Johnny from Virginia, Wolf Magic 21, Doogie, Andy Hudson, Wolfgang Darren, Mercury 869, G9PSX, Mike Maloney, Ryan Kinchin, Zane Donovan, Morgan A-Town, Nathan Tremblay, Aaron Lawson, Scott Brooks, No One Cares, Dave Thompson, Angry Ticks, Fraser Burns, Jordan, Andrew Wright, Chris Fleury, Doug Dorn, Slick Rick, Dan of DNA Gaming, Dave McGee, King Bahamut, James Clark, The Keegs, Andre Sharonic, Joe Buck, Makeshift Mallow, Magic Money. I'm still not out of breath, so I'm going to keep going until I run out of breath. Oh my God. Thanks, everybody. Can't quite seem to get up under my own power anymore. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you. Take it easy. Cheers.